For more than a half century, this place has been a mecca of drag racing. Anyone who's anyone in the sport has to check this place off their list. And this weekend, we've got hot race cars on the track and great-looking cars in the pits for the Menards Chevy Show. Is this heaven? No, it's Bakersfield. Hello and welcome to California's Central Valley, an area famous for agriculture and also well known for Auto Club Famoso Raceway. The history at this place is incredible. All of the legends have raced here, and while we're talking about history, let's take a look at some of the classic Chevrolets just across the wall. Case in point, check out our first producer's pick. It belongs to Larry Board out of Santa Clarita.
It's a 1966 L79 Nova. It's 1 year only with a 327, 350 horse. It's a two-owner car. I've owned it for about 10 years and has 52,000 miles on it. I try to keep all the documentation that I got from the car. Also sent away to have the VIN numbers checked out to make sure that it was at the dealer, that it shows that it was bought at, and all the numbers match on it. It's an Ohio car, unbelievable. Everybody bought them because they were cheap. They're under, $3,000. And they cut them up, they tub them, they race them, they slalom, they do all kinds of things because they're a cheap car. It's hard to find when it's all stock, really, anymore.
So then this thing was in really good shape when you found it.
Yeah, rust-free.
And how did you find it?
I had a friend, gave me a call, that I found one that I think you would really be interested in, and I jumped on it.
What were some of the hardest details to capture to make this look stock?
The resonators that were on them were kind of rusty and everything. There's a guy that I had found in Nevada. Took him years and years, but he perfected making the resonators for it. So now it's perfectly like it came from the showroom.
What made you decide to go with the 66 Nova?
You don't see them around that much. You see a lot of Chevelles, you see a lot of Camaros, and so I wanted something different, break the mold from everything else.
Tim Miller asked us which car he should bring to the show. We heard his story and we voted for both. Check out the winner of the Rock Auto Restored Award and you'll see why.
Well, both sets of my grandparents bought 1957 Chevys from a dealership in Shafter. Actually, the red car was purchased first, and about 2 weeks later, the other grandparents bought their car. So I figured there might have been a little bit of a staying up with the Joneses thing going on. My first experience riding in these cars for years was in diapers. As I grew older, we went everywhere in these cars. Vacations, we used to take my cousin to the dentist all the time. I've got a storyboard that I keep with both the cars, and I've had many of a person come up after they read that story with tears in their eyes. And like I said, they're just cars, but it's not the cars, it's the people that have the cars.
When you got the cars, what kind of condition were they in?
Well, they were pretty tired. The paint needed to be redone. Actually, everything needed to be redone.
Of course, when you're restoring everything, Rock Auto is a good place to start. What did you get from them?
Virtually everything, to be honest. Anything that you want for a car, they've got, and that's the truth.
What do you like best about using Rock Auto's website?
Well, it's quick and easy. You just pick what you want off the menu, and they send it to you very gladly in just a few days. The red car belonged to my grandparents, Lester and Iona Miller. It came with a 235 Chevy engine, chrome on the sides. My grandfather loved this car. One time he put it in a shop, and they couldn't keep it inside all night, so he actually slept in this car with a coat and a shotgun. Nobody was going to tangle with this car.
Now, the station wagon is a looker, and you've won a lot of awards wherever you've gone. Tell me about that car.
The wagon was George and Addie Warren. One time at Famoso, I was actually lucky enough that Shirley Mill Downey picked that wagon. Come Sunday, I was supposed to meet her at the track, but they had a really bad windstorm come up and shut the show down, so I never got a chance to thank Shirley Mill Downey for picking my car. But I would like Shirley to know that she about made me cry that day, and I almost did it again. But I thank you from the bottom of my heart, Shirley, for picking my car, and God bless you.
Congratulations, Tim Miller, for keeping such great memories alive and for taking home this week's Rock Auto Restored Award. Still lots more to come from Bakersfield, including Camaros, Chevelles, and a Vega. A very special Vega, in fact, when the Menards Chevy Show continues.
The Menards Chevy Show is brought to you by Chris Alston's Chassis Works, the home of higher technology. C-Max, the one product for your engine, transmission, and fuel system. Scoggin Dickey Parts Center, your source for custom-built street-to-strip power. and by dustless blasting. It's the future of surface preparation.
When you roll up to Auto Club Famoso Raceway here in Bakersfield, I gotta tell you, the place doesn't look like much. But that's exactly the point. The folks that run this place want it to look and feel just like a drag strip did back in the glory days of drag racing in 1970 or so. Folks come from all over the country to race and show off their cars here, and they'll tell you it's one of their favorite places to visit. And VP of Operations Blake Bowser says there's always something going on.
We are getting ready to start off the year with our March meet. That's going to be March 7, 8, 9, and 10. That's our biggest race of the year. We'll do a summit bracket racing program, a street tuner program, other nostalgia drag races, import races. We'll finish the year off about this time of year here again doing this. We also do the California Hot Rod Reunion. It's a nice full schedule.
And the March meet, I've heard people call it the Woodstock of drag racing.
It really is. It started in 1959, been running ever since. The first year Don Garlitz came out, and that put us on the map. Bakersfield did not observe the nitro ban when that took place from NHRA, so we're kind of known as an outlaw track. And it's just a fun gathering, and the reunion is sort of reflective of that as well. A nice big gathering there. It happens in March and October every year. But just come out here and experience, maybe feel like you're back in 1970 again, run your car like it used to be, and we kind of have that look out here, a little bit more nostalgic look. It's our bread and butter, is the nostalgia scene. So walk in those gates, forget about things for a while, and have a good time.
And now for another producer's pick. This time it's a hard-to-find Survivor car from 1976. Now, Cliff Westerland, for you at a car show, I'm sure a lot of people are coming up to you saying, hey, my grandmother owned a Vega. But their grandmother probably didn't own a Vega like this one.
They think it's a Vega. It's actually a Cosworth Vega. It's a limited production. They made them for about a year and a half. General Motors came out with the all-aluminum motor based after the McLaren. Cosworth heard about an all-aluminum four-cylinder. They wanted to use it for racing because the Cortina motors were failing. John DeLorme thought it'd be a good idea. Hey, we can put this motor in our small car and make a little sports car to compete with the BMWs. Total production was only 3,500. This particular model is a 76. It's a number 2911. It has a 5-speed. They only produced about half of the production of 76 and 5-speed. Total production was 1,400, so there's probably only one in 600, 700 made with a 5-speed. It also has the white interior, which was very rare. Total production was about 196. So this car, being a Survivor, is probably 1 in 20 left.
How did you find this car?
Actually, I found it on eBay. I owned a Vega when I went to college. My brother owned a V8 Vega. My parents told me that they wouldn't pay for my gas going to college if I put a V8 in it, so I decided to put nitrous and Webers on it. But I always wanted the Cosworth because the Cosworth was the quintessential Vega.
And what is it about Vegas that you like so much?
It's just a small, compact car. It was economical in the day. It's a nice handling car, and it's actually, with the Cosworth, it's pretty good performance.
What have you done to the car since you bought it?
I found it pretty much like this. The painter at my work cleaned up the paint. It's nice to have an all-original. People always badmouth the Vega, and it's like, here I have one that's, all original, and it still runs.
You know, some folks keep their classic cars under wraps and only take it to shows on a trailer. Well, not Ronnie Kanzler. He drives his 70 Chevelle everywhere. He has fun with it, and that's why it's our next producer's pick.
I've done 2 Utah tours, 1 Laughlin tour. Those are my longest trips. Those are fun, exciting, being out in the desert, 120 degrees, 150 degrees in the car because there's no air conditioner in there. And it's just pure fun. There's 10 cars caravanning down the 15 freeway, and the people are just like, hey, bomb, because people won't drive their cars, And I understand some people don't want chip paint, but why do we buy these cars if we can't enjoy them? I was gonna buy a boat at first. I went out to Lake Havasu, put the boat in the water. We were cruising from the dock. Water just flooded the boat. My wife said, take me back. That's how this came about. I found the car 5 years ago on the internet. I flew to Florida. I bought it like this. This is how it looked when I bought it. I didn't restore the car. I restored it after the fact. A drunk driver hit it on the driver's side, smashed it, put it in the body shop, stayed there for 1 year. I put a new frame up under there. It took me months to locate a convertible frame. After that, it just took time. You have to be very patient putting these cars together. So I was able to get a new motor, put some other little fine things on the car that I wanted, like the hood, the cow induction and stuff like that. But it was a real job that I wasn't prepared for it. It was fun doing it, but it was very stressful. And I don't want to be stressed out like that. I don't like stress. I kill stress.
How much of this car, percentage-wise, would you say is original?
I would go with 75. I did nothing to the interior. I replaced the fender, the hood, the frame. I used the old wiring harness. I didn't replace a lot of stuff. I don't want to change everything. I want to keep some of that original stuff. And when it comes time to change it, I will change it, you know? I don't have no problem with change, but it don't need change. I ain't changing it. It's my first car that I bought since I was a teenager having muscle cars. I really love my car.
Don't go anywhere. Still a bunch of classic Chevrolets to come here on the Menards Chevy Show from Bakersfield. This is the Menards Chevy Show. Welcome back to Bakersfield, California. We have got a great Chevelle for you, and this one's so nice, it's the winner of this week's OPGI Original Award. Rick Thomas's 66 Malibu looks great under the hood. The interior is just about perfect, and the body looks great. But Rick, probably the best thing about this car is who you get to work on it with.
My son, he'll be 38 this year. We bought the car between his junior and senior year in high school, and we've been working on it ever since.
How did this car start?
It was just a shell, and we started to work on it from there. We first had small blocks in it, and then we went to big block engines. Dark block, dart heads, dark manifold, runner 1050 Dominator carburetor. It's a 540 cubic inch block, stroked out to 556, roughly 700 plus horsepower, 700 foot-pounds of torque. Lots and lots of fun to drive.
And the interior, at first blush, kind of looks stock, but you made some changes to it, right?
The color of the car is actually green, and when we put a dark color in there for the interior, it didn't match, it didn't look right. So we found this interior that's got a lot of little green flakes in it and specks of mauve in it. One of these days I want to upgrade, maybe go to a leather or something like that. Just last year we totally rewired the car. We put that dash in it and stuff. So the speedometer self-adjusting, the tacks in there, and it just cleans the dash up.
Now, how many of the parts and pieces for this came from OPGI?
This last year we put brand new bumpers on it front and back. The quality of the bumpers is great. It's good or better than stock. The prices were extremely good. It's very, very easy to get the order in. They were back ordered on the rear bumper. They kept in touch with me to let me know when the stuff was coming in. It's excellent service.
What does it mean to you knowing that you have touched every inch of this car and your son has too, and you've got to do everything on it together?
Oh, priceless. Priceless. Be able to work on it with him, do all the stuff that we do. Got a grandson that loves it. You know, his son, that I can't hardly get him out of it. Every time I take it someplace or bring it home, he's got a ride in it. You can't put a dollar value on it.
Congratulations to Rick Thomas and his son Simon, winners of the OPGI Original Award here in Bakersfield. We're going to round out this group of Chevelles with another beauty from 1966. Jeremiah Steele restored the car with his late father, and now he's dedicated it to the memory of his dad.
Everybody asks me if it's for sale. It's not for sale because you can't trade a lifetime for money. I built it from the ground up. I brought it back from the dead twice. Shouldn't even be on the road right now. So me and my dad went down and looked at it, and it was in pieces. It was buried on a hill, and there was no hood, front end, nothing. But he saw something in it, and so did I. So we brought it home about 2 days later. And then I've kind of pieced it together for graduation and got it kind of painted in 2001, and then I wrecked it. And one of the best dudes ever, Matt Good, helped me rebuild it to this point. We did everything, literally like Detroit-style assembly line. Firewall, quarter panels, door skins, rocker panels, outer wheelhouses, new hood, anything that we could get.
Tell me about the engine. What makes it go?
454, I got an Iskandarian cam. I don't need a blower. I don't need to put a supercharger. This is all the power I'll ever need.
And tell me what you've done to make it ride more like a modern car.
So we got front and rear sway bars, some little air shocks in the back. Took some 85 Monte Carlo spindles and turned them into disc brakes on the front. Got small block Hotchkiss springs in the front because I have aluminum heads. So that's what gets it down low. It runs, it's awesome. This is the newest car I'll ever own.
Tell me about the interior.
I put some Thunderbird seats in there, which is pretty cool because nobody would expect power seats in a 66 Chevelle. Everything else is pretty much stock. I recoated the seats, the back seats, and new headliner. And I keep the odometer red at 0 just because it's basically the new car, man. and no matter how many miles, it'll always be new.
Now, your mom was not in favor of the idea.
She hated it when it brought it home that night, but when I got it out, she said, "Oh man, I feel like a celebrity cruising in this thing." She kind of realized the potential that we saw in it, and it was cool to have her come around on that one.
In 2017, it became even more special.
Me and my dad worked on this thing. He taught me things that I didn't know. Things about cars. He literally taught me how to drive and ride and build cars. And he passed away in 17, but I'm going to make sure that his memory stays alive. This was the last car he ever rode in Nashville. Now I have his 69 Camaro, which I want to make look as good as that one. That's why he's here.
If you like Camaros, our next segment is for you. Oh, and you're gonna love where the owner found this one. The Menards Chevy Show will be right back from Bakersfield.
The Menards Chevy Show is brought to you by Performance Unlimited, your crate engine experts, building your dream and ours one engine at a time. Willwood Disc Brakes, high-performance disc brakes and brake components. Exalta Coating Systems, we paint winners. And by Borla, the world's most winning exhaust.
Welcome back to Bakersfield. It's amazing what high-quality cars you'll find at every Menards Chevy show. Take this one for example. It's from Zing T, and it's naturally cool. Jaime Huerta has one of the most optioned out and hard to find Camaros from 1969 that you'll ever find.
Essentially, there's only been 30 known Camaros coming out of the factory that were RSSS convertibles with a 396, 375 horse engine in it. Along with that, it also has about 30 other options on the vehicle, including liquid tire chain, which only about 118 Camaros came with, cruise control, which only about 25 Camaros came with this as well, power windows, tilt wheel, fold down rear seat, rear defroster, houndstooth interior, the RSSS package, front and rear bumper guards, F41 suspension, power trunk, to name a few.
Liquid tire chain jumps out at me. Tell me about that.
Essentially, I got a button underneath my dash. I hit that button, and in the back, there's two canisters that are tied to the wheel wells. In those canisters is an adhesive. I hit the button underneath the dash, and it throws adhesive in the back of the tires, essentially to get you out of snow. Those are for the cars built on Norwood, Ohio.
Probably not really useful out here on the West Coast.
Not really. Maybe here in the drag strip, put different canisters in there, of much gooier substance.
Now I see you've kept every detail right down to the original spare tire in the trunk, but what happened to the original 396?
Unfortunately, back in the 70s, the car was stolen. I mean, all they took out of the car was the motor. Then after that, they had an LS6 454 put in it. We removed that, stroked out the motor, now it's an actual 496. But I actually dressed it up to still look like a 396. A little bit more modern features in it, aluminum radiator, vacuum pump for the brakes.
And one more creature comfort at the behest of your wife.
Yes, AC, of course. I had to get that for her, and even threw in cruise control for her, too, if she ever gets behind the wheel.
And then you added the stereo as well for her, right? Yeah.
Had to give and take. You know, it's either fumes or big block sound or music. So I gave her the music, and she keeps the fumes, so she don't have to listen to the big block now.
Sounds like a fair trade to me.
Yeah. It sure does.
A Camaro RSSS, brought to you by Zing T and Naturally Cool. Now onto a second generation Camaro that you're gonna love. It's beautiful, and it's our next producer's pick.
It's a 1970 Camaro. It was in pieces when I got it, and I took it all apart, and it's got all brand new bolts and from the ground up, and I worked on it, wired it myself, painted it, did all the body work. It took me 10 years.
Tell me what you have under the hood.
It's a 454 Chevy crate motor. It's got a turbo 400 transmission with a gear vendors overdrive, a Mosier 12-bolt rear end, and it's got a March drive system, aluminum water pump.
The interior, is that a stock look?
Yeah, the whole interior is redone, cushions and all. It's a Pro Touring suspension in the front. It's SpeedTech, and I have a 4-link system in the rear.
The 1970 Camaro is awfully special to you. Why is that?
When I was 15 and a half, I bought a 1970 Camaro from my uncle. I had it until I was 18 and got married and had to sell it. Then I looked for it for 20 years and couldn't find it. Almost found it. I tracked it down to several people, but never got it there. And then this one came along.
The thing was kind of a mess when you got it, so what made you decide that's the one that I am going to restore?
I wanted a 70 Camaro, and I knew what engine I wanted, and then that made it easy. My original Camaro had a big block. And I knew that engine. I built it 3 times and had to pass the car in high school.
Hear about somebody finding a great car in a barn or something that was owned by a grandparent or something like that. But Tim Morgan, you have a less auspicious beginning for this car. Where'd you find it?
I found this in Long Beach, California at Betty Boop's used car lot. It was actually my 16th birthday present. Since then, pretty much kind of drug the car through life with me and put a motor out of a 69 Camaro. We rebuilt it, did a lot of custom chroming, replaced the interior, had it repainted. Most of the work was done in like the early 90s.
Of course, we see the butterflies up on top, which indicates a supercharger, but not really. It's just kind of a charger.
Exactly. Street scoop, never finished it off. Was going to put a small supercharger on it, but life kind of started happening after that. Kids, homes, different things.
So what is underneath that supercharger scoop?
It's a 350. It's got an RV cam. It's basically built for street. You can pretty much drive it anywhere. It's really reliable.
What is it like to grow up with a car like you have?
It's kind of like a yearbook of your life, just different parts of the interior or motor or outside. There's always a story or something you can flash back to 1988 or 1991. It's pretty unique in that way. It's been hard, especially moving or buying houses and finding a spot to keep it. Somehow I found a way to just drag it through.
That is going to do it for us. We are out of time. Thanks so much for making the pilgrimage to historic Auto Club Famoso Raceway. We hope you enjoyed all these great Chevrolets and the people and personalities that go along with them. So long from Bakersfield. We'll see you next time for another Menards Chevy Show.